Hello, wonderful besties. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Luna, and welcome to Luna's Bookshelf. First of all, guys, I'm so sorry that I haven't posted in a month on here. I feel kind of bad that I didn't post anything, but it was just so busy. I had a lot of deadlines. I still have a lot of deadlines. School is just really busy, but also my personal life. Also, I have just a lot of things to do, and I didn't have any time to film something, so I'm very sorry for that. I did try to film like a week of my life, but I was just not satisfied with the clips I made, and also kind of forgot to film quite a lot of the time. So I was just not as happy as I wanted to be. So I just decided to not post that video. So yeah, here we are. It is today the 8th of April, 8th of May. And I really hope to post this video today. We're going to see if I can get to that, but I'm gonna try my best, guys. Okay, I'm going to try my best. So yeah, but what we're going to do into this video is I'm going to show you the books I read in the month of March and April, so a little reading wrap up. And I think I'm also going to show you guys some books I want to read in the month of May. It's already like the first week is already over, but still I'm going to show some books because there are some books I really hope to read. But first, we're going to do a little overview for the month of March and April. Be aware there are only 3 books I have physically at the moment, because one book I borrowed from the library and the other books I read on my e-reader. So that's why. But I read in March a total of 2 books, which one was a literary fiction and the other one was a YA fantasy. In April, I read 5 books. Of those 5 books, 4 are romance books and 1 was a fantasy book. Now, let's get into the books of March. So, as I just said, I read only 2 books in March, so that was not the best reading month. I'm going to be really honest. I was kind of in a reading slump, so that's also why. And the first book I read in March was Helvis Age by Janet McCurdy. I got this edition, signed edition, at the Leeds, so pretty cool. And it has a customized, no, like this, a customized bookmark. So yeah, Helvis Age. We follow Waldo, and Waldo, she is, how old was she? She's still in high school, and she's like a little bit struggling with herself. She doesn't really know what she wants in life, and just your average teenage girl, I think. But she has this class, creative writing, and all of a sudden she has this kind of crush for the teacher, Mr. Corgi, and it's getting even the crush is getting intenser and intenser, and she doesn't really know why she has this crush on him, because this guy is married, he has a kid, so it's really complicated, it's really weird, and I don't want to spoil too much, It is a really uncomfortable book to read. Let me tell you that first. I kind of knew what I was getting into when I started the book. I already read a lot of reviews saying that it's kind of uncomfortable to read. But I also think that's kind of the point of this book, to feel uncomfortable. I mean, you're reading about a teenage girl who has this crush on her high school teacher who is like in his 40s. And something that is such a big detail, but maybe some of the people who read it, I think, missed it. The fact that Waldo never mentions, or almost, I think, never mentions her teacher by his first name. She always describes him as Mr. Gorky, never with his first name. I think we do know his first name, but I don't know if it was from Waldo's perspective that when she said it, or if it's just in the book, when we're observing. But yeah, it is a very uncomfortable book. And there were some things that I think it's necessary to be uncomfortable because of the story, and it is part of the story that it's more like uncomfortable. And I did like what Janet did with this book, and it's very interesting. It's more like a character, it's really character driven, this book. And I did like it, and there were some things that I really enjoyed, but there was also things I didn't enjoy. And I can't exactly point out what that was, but that's why I gave it 3.25 stars. I mean, it was a good book, and there are some good things, and I think it's a great first debut fiction novel because she did already write a book, but that was a non-fiction. But I mean, it's a memoir about her own life, about her mother. So that's completely different to writing a fiction book, I think. I'm not an expert, but that's just what I think it is. So yeah. So if you're wanting to read this book, be aware of the contents. Maybe look up some triggering things because there are some not really trigger warnings, but I don't know. This book is definitely not for everyone. Absolutely not. There were some scenes in this book that was like, what did I just read? So yeah, the first book. Then the next book I read was Light Lark by Alex Astor. This is the first book in this like YA fantasy series, and I've seen a lot of people talk and read this book, and I never really knew what people thought because there were some people who really loved the book, people that just liked the book, but also people that don't like the book at all. And I was just curious to see what I would think of the book. So that's why I picked it up. And I can start by saying I'm not going to continue the series because when I finished reading the book, I was like, okay, that was it, and I'm glad that it's over. I didn't care. I don't know a lot anymore about the book. That's also a big say. I mean, I have this with quite a lot of books, definitely if they're a long time ago, even if I like them a lot. But this book, I just didn't care any at all for the characters in the book as well. And yeah, I was just really not vibing with it. At first, I gave it like 3.25 stars, but when I was just like preparing this video, I was like, no, this is not a 3.5 stars. I think it's 3 at best, and maybe even a 2.75 because yeah, I just was not vibing with this book at all. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the writing, but also the story that just didn't feel good and wasn't it for me because that's normal. I mean, some things like that is some that's possible. Maybe other books by her I would like. You never know. But just that book wasn't for me, and that's completely fine. So yeah. Now we're going into the books of April. So in April I read 5 books as I just said, and I really started April with a banger. I bought the Popular trilogy, the whole 3-book set, in beginning of this year, I think, because they're on my 26 books of 2026. And I was so excited to start reading this book, but also very scared because it's a book series that is well loved. I mean, a lot of people I follow and know really love this series, but also say it's a pretty intense series. So I was kind of scared to get into this. So I read the Popular, and this was hell of a ride. It was hell of a ride. There were some laughs, there were some tears, there was everything in between. So yeah, we follow Rin, and Rin, she gets accepted to Synecart, and this is military school in Nikan. And she's really surprised she gets into that. So she gets into the school, and being in the school, a lot of things happen. It's really difficult to like find her way in it because she's maybe a little bit more different from the other students. And a lot of is happening. We follow her into the school year, but also when she's graduating, and when she has to choose a specific like study she wants to go deeper into. And it's just really a lot in one book. But even though there is a lot of information in this one book, you still get it, and it is still interesting. However, there was a little small part that I was not as invested as I hoped I would be. Just I don't know what it was, but I think I was still kind of in my reading slump, and I think that was one of the reasons as well. But the writing in this book is so good. It is really, it's just so good. I just can't describe how good the writing is, the story building, the world building, everything in it is so good, and also the similarities to things that are happening in the world right this minute is really insane. And yeah, I found it really interesting, and I will definitely be reading the other 2 books. I just haven't gotten around to it because I needed a break after reading this book. I needed something light and funny, and just something else because this was intense. So if you read this book, check up trigger warnings because there are some in it, and I think you should be aware of them if you're as a person who gets triggered quite easy, maybe. So yeah, but I really love this book. So I give it a 4.75 stars. I was really giving it, I wanted to give it 5 stars, but because of the fact that I just didn't really, there was just this small part that I didn't get that invested, and I was not invested anymore. I think that's the reason why it's just not a 5 star anymore. But it's so good. And it is also brutally honest. It is, yeah, I really like Rin and I feel for her. And I can't wait. And also very scared what else is going to happen in this series. So yeah. After those two books, I read 3 arcs. So this small part is going to be like advertisement. I didn't get paid. I want to be very clear. I did not get paid to read these 3 books. I just received them in order to review these 3 books, and all of the reviews I'm now going to talk about are my own honest opinion. So now getting into the books. So the first book I read was Marry a Little by Sophie Thomas. This is the third book I read by this author as an arc, and I was so excited to get this e-arc because the previous 2 books by her I really loved. I really enjoyed them, so I just couldn't wait to start this. I'm going to read the synopsis because I was trying to like, how do I explain this book, and I just couldn't get my words out, and I think then it's better to like say, to like just read the synopsis, you know? So we're going to do that real quick. Maxine Hamilton Williams just received an invite to her own wedding. The only problem is she isn't engaged. In fact, she's not even dating. After spending Christmas with a man she may have been harboring a small crush on and sharing a passionate kiss, Maxie thinks the new year might finally be the time to make a move on the Detroit Panthers captain. But her life gets upside down when her estranged mother starts sending out wedding invites with her name on them. Teddy Carter is approaching in the finish line of his professional hockey career and has no idea what's next. But when he overhears Maxie talking about marrying somebody else, he offers a solution: marry him instead. With the upcoming All-Stars weekend in Las Vegas, they decide to capitalize on the window of opportunity and explore their growing feelings in the process. But Hamilton Williams will not be ignored or go down without a fight. Will Maxie and Teddy's marriage be able to withstand the pressure, or will they learn that Agatha always gets her way? So yeah, I mean, when I read that synopsis, I was so intrigued. I was like, oh, well, where is this thing going? I really liked the book. I was just so invested. I liked the characters. I liked the vibe with the whole setting and like I don't know what it's called. I don't know if you can call it found family, but the whole the friendship with everything and all. I just really enjoyed that. I just didn't enjoy it as her other books as much. I don't know why it was, but at nearing the end, I was like, okay, let's get this wrapped up. I was just getting a little bit of done with it. I don't know why it was, because I did like the character, as I just said, but yeah, I don't know why it was. So I give this book 4 stars. But I would recommend reading this book, obviously, because it was a fun book. After that, I read A Romance on the Docket by Jessica Powell. So in this book, we follow Minji and Erin. Minji, she is a divorce lawyer, and she is really uptight. She is really focused on the business, focused on the game, and she will do everything to work. I mean, her work is her life, basically. And then Erin comes into the picture. Erin is a romance writer, and he is going to be he's going to be like mirroring her. He's going to follow her because his next book is going to be about a lawyer, and he wants to get like a thought of how it is in real life. But there's this like a little thingy going on because Erin knows Minji. Minji also knows Erin, but she discovers this along the way. So yeah, in the beginning I really liked it. I was literally laughing out loud at some points, but then there was a moment that Minji, I mean, in a way I do like her character, but she kind of reminded me of like the character in what is it called? Not part of your world. Yes, and part of your world. I just couldn't really sympathize with Minji at some points, and I think that's why I just didn't like the book as much and didn't really like them together as well, because I did really like Aaron as a character and I found him really funny and a really good guy, but them together just didn't really make sense in my opinion, and I think that's why I gave it like 3.5 stars. There were some things that I just didn't feel, and that's okay. But I mean, it was a good, fun, quick romance, but if you didn't like Part of Your World, I don't think you would like this book as well. Then the last arc I read was Fire and Ice by Carly Robin. I was so excited when I received this arc because I couldn't wait to start reading this book. I read one book by her. It was an F1 romance, and I saw like the previous book in the series, Ice Ice Baby. I haven't read that yet, so I was really excited that I got this arc, even though I haven't read the first book. And I mean, it's a hockey romance. Hockey romances are also always kind of fun. And in this book, we follow Kennedy and Cameron. Kennedy, she is a baker. She has his own little business growing that she made of herself. And then we also have Cameron. And Cameron is his hockey player, obviously. Kennedy is kind of struggling because everything now she's baking, she's doing it from her own apartment, from her own kitchen, but it's getting a little bit too small for her. So she wants to expand her business and have her own place to work, her own bigger kitchen. But she's not able to afford it. Then comes in Cameron. Cameron also has his problems. He has this crazy ex-girlfriend who doesn't seem to get the hint that Cameron doesn't want anything to do with her anymore. And when there is this auction for like that the hockey team supports, Cameron desperately asks to Kennedy, please do a bit on me. So from all of that, things started to happen. I really love these characters. I love their dynamic. I loved the storyline. I love both of their like things. Cameron, on the surface, he's like this grumpy guy. He's not that outspoken about his feelings, but he's so fun and he's so cute. And Kennedy as well, she really sees Cameron and she notices the little things he does and he does as well. And I think they match so good, and I really love to read about that. And also with the other facts in the book, with the friends, because she's friends with Cameron's sister. I just really loved everything going together. So I really like this book, and I will definitely be reading the first book in this series. They start a fake date, and yes, I just love their dynamic. I just found it really fun to read.
Hi, besties. A little intermezzo of Luna editing. So, I was editing this video, and at some point, my camera stopped filming. I don't know why it was, but I have that sometimes. And I was still in the middle of doing my review of Fire and Ice by Carly Robin, and I didn't get to the point where I say what my rating is. So here I am saying it. I give it 4.5 stars. I really like the book, and I think it's a book I would come back to maybe even. And also will definitely be reading the first book now because I think I also know the couple of the first book now. I don't mind that. But I highly recommend checking out the series. Definitely, if you love like a hockey romance, I think it's a book a lot of people would like. So, yeah. And also the banter and just everything. I really like this book. Maybe I'm even going to go with the 4.75, but for now it's a 4.5. So, yeah. Now, onto the last book of April.
On to the last book and the final book, and this was also a book club book for the month of April and March. I know for 2 months, but that doesn't matter. And that was Just Friends by Haley Pham. I was so excited to start reading this book. I mean, when I knew Haley was going to write a book, I just couldn't wait to get to it and to start reading it because, I mean, I've been following Haley. I followed Haley before she did book content, and then I took a little break. And when she started making book content again, I was just following her more regularly, and I really love her content. So I was so excited to start reading this book, and I was excited to see what she has, what she did with it, and it did not disappoint. So in this book, we follow Blair and Declan, and they used to be friends, when they were younger, and we have these two timelines. We have the timeline from now and the timeline of then, so a now and past timeline. And in the now timeline, we see when Blair gets back to the small town Seabrook because her great aunt Lottie is sick. So she's going there to take care of her great aunt Lottie and for her mom, and then she also runs into Declan. And in the past timeline, we see everything from the start to what happened to like why they didn't speak anymore for such a long time. I really loved it, and I really think it was really, I see a lot of really. What I think was good was that we did have like the past timeline so we could understand everything, but also the grief in this book was so beautifully, and I really could feel the feelings Blair was feeling. Also, the communication between the two of them was so good. I just loved a lot of things about this book, and I think it was a very good debut novel. I know there are some people that didn't like the book as much, and that's completely fine, but I just enjoyed it, and I think it was a very fun book. And I mean, it was different from other second chance romances in a way, in my opinion. There was a little bit more depth to some things, and I appreciated that. Also, the fact that what I sometimes have in second chance romances when you follow the present and the past timeline, sometimes they make sense in the past timeline, but they don't make sense in the present. I think they did make sense on both of the timelines. So I really appreciate that. So yeah, I give this book 4.5 stars. That were all the books I read in March and April. I'm really glad with all the books I read. There were some good books in there, and yeah. Now I'm going to quickly show you. I think I'm going to like do 3 books I want to read in May because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. So yeah, I'm going to quickly show you guys. So I've got 3 books I hopefully will read this month. We're going to see if I'm going to be able to do that. But the first book being No Matter What by Carol Stone. I read Promising Sunshine by her, and I really enjoyed that book, so I'm really excited to start reading this book as well. And I just can't wait to start it because I've heard many great things about this book. The next book is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read 3 books by her now, and all of the 3 books I read by her I really enjoyed. So I think I will also enjoy this one. And then the next book is a book I'm already reading, and that's Crown and Feathers by Ariana and Giovanni. She's a Belgian author, and I was so excited when she announced she was going to release this book, and I've been following the process. And I'm currently reading the book, and I'm really enjoying it. And then I have one more book. I said that 3 books, but this one is more like a bonus book. If I read it, I will be very happy. But we'll see, because May is a very busy month. And that is The Dragon Republic by Arthur Conan. It is the second book in the Poppy War series, but it's a thick book, as you can see. I mean, I think it's like, yeah, it's about 700 pages. So that's crazy. But we're going to see if it works, that's fine. If it doesn't, it's also fine. So yeah, that are the books for March and April and my little May TBR. I hope you guys liked the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!